Christina with Bubblegum Paper, and I'm here with another fun birthday card. This is a birthday bouquet featuring an awesome stamp set from WPlus9. I'm also using a bunch of inks from Hero Arts and Simon Says Stamp. Now this birthday card is for my Aunt Grace. I call her I-Yi and I spell it totally wrong. It's not I-E-Y, but that's how I've always spelt it since childhood, so I'm sticking with it. And she is an amazing plant lover, animal lover, everything. She has a great green thumb, and so I thought this floral stamp set would be perfect for her. So here's a close-up of what the card looks like, and let's get started. The stamp set I'm using today is from WPlus9, and it's called Freehand Florals. This is a layering stamp set, which means you kind of layer one on top of another to get a really cool looking image. I'm also using a sentiment from Simon Says Stamp, the birthday flower stamp set, and I'm using this die cut that says Happy. It's a Happy script die cut from Mama Elephant. As I mentioned, the inks that I'm using are from Hero Arts and Simon Says Stamp. I really love this ombre ink pad from Hero Arts. It has 3 different colors that totally match, so I didn't have to think about a thing. But I did pull aside a couple triplets and pairs to use throughout the card, and I'll mention the colors that I'm using as I go through the stamping. I did pull aside this white ink as well, but I don't think I actually used it. To start with the stamping, I'm going to stamp all the largest bottom pieces of the flower down, and then I'm going to die cut this out before I stamp the other layers. So I'm doing a rosy pink, a peachy pink, and then a yellow. And then I'm also going to stamp the medium-sized rose. Similar, I'm just going to stamp the bottom layer only, and I'm just going to die cut that out. And you're probably wondering, how many flowers is she planning to put on this card? Well, as you probably saw from my preview image, there are only 3 giant flowers and a couple, I don't even know if I used any of the medium ones, but I just had so much fun stamping, and so I stamped a ton, and now I'm doing the leaves in 2 different shades of green. I'm also doing just the bottom layer of the leaves, and then I'll die cut those out. But I had so much fun stamping all of these and die cutting them, so I'm sure I'm going to use and create more cards. For this little accent piece, I've decided to blend 2 colors. So I'm blending the Hero Arts Mint Julep with the Simon Says Stamp Cloudy Sky. And what I did was I stamped half of the stamp with Mint Julep, and then I went ahead and stamped the rest of the stamp in Cloudy Sky. And it doesn't actually mess up the ink pad, so I was fine with that. Then I also went in and I stamped this tiny little rosebud in 2 different colored leaves, and then I went with the same 3 colors, the yellow, the pink, pinkish peach, and the rosy peach. Pinkish peach and the rosy pink. So now I'm going to go ahead and do all the die cutting. And the best way to die cut the largest one is to line up the lower right edge. In my screen you see I'm lining the dies up with that lower right edge, and there's a piece of white on the left, but that's okay because that's going to help us when we stamp the other layers. And then with the middle rows, I'm lining up the upper right edge. So I'm going through all of those, and then I'm going to go ahead and die cut all of these leaves as well. And this did take me a while to die cut and place it all with washi tape, but it was a lot of fun, like I said. So after the leaves, I go in and I do just a couple of those accent pieces. I realized I wasn't going to need all of them, and you know, I probably didn't need more than half, like 3/4 of what I ended up die cutting. But I did go ahead and die cut a bunch of pieces, and now I have them ready. So to recap, here are all the different pieces that I just die cut. It's only the base layers of all of the different elements. There's no layering happening here. But I thought a quick little stop motion video would be fun to insert in the middle of my video. For the yellow flower, I started with a base layer of Duckling from Simon Says Stamp, and then I'm adding the middle color Butter Bar from Hero Arts, and I'm finishing it off with Soft Cantaloupe, also from Hero Arts. And this is a mix of hybrid inks and dye inks, but you know, I think they totally work out together. For the peachy pink one, my base layer is Rosy Cheeks from Simon Says Stamp. The middle one is Teeny Bikini, and then the darkest color is called Pale Tomato from Hero Arts. And I think these just look so pretty when they're all put together. For the rosy colored pink, I'm actually using the lightest and medium colors of the ombre ink pad. And then I'm finishing it off with Hollyhock as the darkest color from Simon Says Stamp. This one was by far my favorite color combination, but you guys probably can tell from my website and everything that I just love pink. Now I'm just doing the leaves. So the base layers were Jelly Bean, that's the lighter green, and Willow, that's the medium green. And then I'm using the Field Greens from Hero Arts as the darkest accent part. And then I did nothing to those hybrid ink colored ones. So that's everything all die cut out and all stamped out. And now I'm going to go finish up the base layers for the rest of the card. I have this super pretty paper from Teresa Collins that's gold foil striped, and I'm just cutting it down to an A2 size card base. So that's 5.5 inches tall by 4.25 inches wide. And then I'm also cutting this white cardstock down to 5.5 inches tall by 3.75 inches wide. This way I'll have a little bit of a striped foil border on either side. I'm taking the Happy die and I'm just going to line that up and then run it through the die cutting machine. I did cut a couple of these Happies out because I didn't know what color I wanted to make the Happy, so I just cut 2 out to be safe. And in the end, I used that ombre ink pad and I just stamped all 3 colors in. I used the largest rose stamp, and then I think I went and I grabbed a smaller heart stamp from my collection that I just had on my desk. So I'm just using that to stamp the 3 different colors in. It's really, really rough. I didn't do like a smooth ink blended type of job on this one. I did it rough because the Freehand Florals set is a hand-drawn effect flower, so I thought the Happy would work that way. I'm also using the ombre ink pad to stamp the birthday wishes sentiment on the inside of the card. This ink pad is getting a good workout in this video, so I think it should be feeling very well loved at the end of this video. Anyways, I'm using the birthday wishes, and now I'm going to go ahead and do my favorite inlay die cut puzzle piecing thing. So I took a piece of scrap vellum paper and I'm totally covering it with adhesive. And what this does, it'll help the vellum stick to the back of the card, but it also creates a sticky base for me to stick the little Happy in, and then all the guts, all the innards that I die cut out, the white parts, I am sticking in, and the tape holds everything in place. So I didn't need liquid adhesive, I didn't need to add any more glue. All of that tape runner adhesive works for this technique. This is so much fun, and as I was going through and putting all the little pieces in, I realized I was missing one of those little tiny pieces under the second P. So here I am putting that first one in, and I looked everywhere on my desk for the second one. I was flipping under cards and cardstock, and in the end I just went ahead and cut a second one out. And then sure enough, when I cleaned off my craft space later, I found it. But anyways, now I have 2 little P dots. Next, I go ahead and I assemble the bouquet, and as you can see, I took all the flowers out, and there's no way I can put all those flowers on the front of my card. So I'm just putting together a couple layers of the 3 different color giant roses, and then I'm trying to figure out where the leaves should go. There's really no rhyme or reason, and I actually don't think it's that easy to mess this card up with these awesome stamps, because all of the pieces fit together. You can put the leaves with any of the flowers, big or small. You can put some of those like bluish accent things behind and in between any of the flowers. I was actually looking at some flower bouquets online, and I'm like, oh, they can go anywhere. I know I totally appreciate great florists, but for the purposes of making my card today, I just really put them anywhere. So I'm using regular tape runner adhesive to place most of the layers down on top of each other, and then I just propped up this front rosy pink one with some foam adhesive. So that one is sticking out a little taller than everything else. And I'm just finishing it off with a leaf, and then I move everything over, so there is the bouquet. And now I want to take some of this Heidi Swap color shine. It's Heidi Swap Gold Color Shine. And I don't want to get it on the happy, but I want to stamp it all over or sprinkle it all over the rest of the front of the card. This is a technique that I see lots of scrapworkers do in their scrapbook pages. I don't do it that often on my cards, but I thought for this one, because of the shiny gold foil paper, that the color shine would work out well for this. Now I'm going to glue all the pieces together, so I'm taking the gold foil pattern paper and I'm just applying a ton of adhesive tape runner on the back and gluing that to my card base. And then I'm going to go ahead and take some foam adhesive and place that on the back of the flower panel because I wanted this to lift up a little. So I'm just using regular 3M foam adhesive, pulling that off, placing that smack dab in the center. And then I'm going to finish off the front with a bunch of these really pretty clear sequins from Pretty Pink Posh. I think they're just called Sparkling Clear as the color. And I'm using tiny, tiny micro glue dots to hold them in place. I'm just doing 3 on the bottom and 3 on the top. So that pretty much finishes off the card. So happy, happy birthday, Ayi. I hope it's an awesome day for you today. Here are a couple close-ups of the finished card. You can see the different layers, the sequins, the color shine, the gold foil. It's just super sparkly and happy. Thank you all so much for watching and for subscribing to my channel. Here are 2 recent birthday cards that I made for family members. You can also follow me on social media at Bubblegum Paper or visit my blog at bubblegumpaper.com. Thanks again and catch you next time. Bye!